Like to thank everyone for attending today and thank everyone for the remarks in tribute of Mom. Uh, it's been an incredible glimpse at her work to be laid out so, concisely by her friends and comrades. In conjunction with the political sentiments expressed before me, I want to speak about the things that I hold dear about my mom, many of which you have experienced and know inform her political work and are informed by it. Mom is not the kind of person you can separate her from her struggle alongside the working class. Her memory has wide branches and deep roots, which will grow even deeper after today. Our shared moments in the past and in the future will connect us in celebrating her life. She's much more than the movement for me and for many of us, even personally. She's very successful in life and she was very successful politically. Mom was very strong. She carried the burden of tragedy and is living proof that adversity only makes a monster when one chooses to succumb to it. And that was not my mom. Easy was not her way and often not her choice. Not a single person in this room today will have it easy. And yet, Helen prevailed and survived, and so can we. With a lifetime of tragedy on her shoulders, she found the time to carry those around her, saving us, and unequivocally, me. Adopting a 7-year-old is no easy task, but my mom took it in stride. Without her, I, without a doubt, have not become the person I am now. She would spend countless nights giving me the motherly attention I never had and would push me from being nearly illiterate to English being one of my most passionate subjects. When I was 12, I remember that I was a student witnessing another student by the name of Brittany struggling with mathematics and English similarly to myself. I took the time to work with her on her homework and protect her from her other classmates. And when my mother found out that I was doing that, the sense of pride that emanated from her was tangible. The action felt effortless and it felt good. And now I know why. But I hold this calling to kindness, as I call it, as one of my most prized personal traits, something instilled in me by my mother. As a young adult, I find myself cast adrift in the world, with no real direction and in need of a firm shove out of the nest. Mom did that for me. I was offered an opportunity to join the Farmington Hills Fire Department as an emergency medical technician and a firefighter. When I was laying in bed, sore from training, Mom was there to offer help. And I knew in those moments I had all the support in the world that I needed. With Mom behind my back, what couldn't I achieve? This is the job I now call my own. I take every opportunity to treat every patient like I did Brittany not so many years ago. All of this effort is to make a positive impact on the current state of the world left so hurt by the greed of so few, just as Mom did. She nurtured this drive in me, and I can only imagine how deeply she must have inspired all of you here today. We must take this time to remember Helen Halyard. Not to say that Mom is an easily forgotten woman, mind you, she's far from it. But she tailored her interactions with all of us to have a personal touch, and as such, we all know her as slightly different hues from the woman she was in life. She was born in New York in 1950. At a time in New York that cannot be understated in how difficult yet formative it was for her. She would develop a deep connection to family after the passing of her brother and would later expand her definition of family to include almost anyone. She would be sent to visit distant relatives in the Deep South, and while down there, she would discover a passion for colonial-era history and later politics. She would also learn, as she quoted, "You can take the girl out of the city, but you can't take the city out of the girl." The loss of her family when she was so young and her trips to different relatives would combine for some of her most outstanding traits, an utterly unstoppable purpose, compassion, and understanding. She went on to spend much of her free time bridging the gap between lost family members and would even go on to meet people that were cousins so distant you'd need a chart to figure out the relation. She kept up with these contacts and cherished them deeply. Party members here today have their own stories on what brought them to the doorstep of their political views. But I think some things ring true. An individual like Helen, with a deep love of people and a passion for justice, came to fight for a healthy, united working class. Mom's sense of right ran deep and prevailed in many of her interactions. She could not stand by and watch injustice befall the innocent. And I remember my mom felt very passionately about the situation with homelessness here in Detroit. She had told me once that she strongly disagreed with the image that is portrayed of the homeless, and that they were not scoundrels, but people who needed help, that the system, as it is, had failed them. All the while, she had stopped the car and gave the $5 from her purse to the man begging for change. A trend I carry with me today. I understand it now. It's not something I bring myself to do. It's something that I want to do. It's effortless for me to help. And I know that it was for Mom too. Her political work focused on the hands-on approach, meeting people in person, traveling to different places. She would connect with many people and inspire many more to share her political views. From being involved in the trial of Gary Tyler to the simple yet just as important task of keeping in touch with party supporters, Mom's work for a better future for the working class and the crowd gathered here today is her magnum opus. From her magnum opus to her Mona Lisa, our mother, friend, aunt, sister, and confidant was a wonderful person. She's the kind of person at a gathering of friends and family who would effortlessly strike up a conversation with the new people or the people from out of town, the kind of person you find on the sideline of the get-together. Mom would glide their way, and after a few moments, they would talk like they've known each other for years. The special treatment wouldn't end there, though. If you ran into her weeks or even a decade later, she would bring up that conversation like it just happened. And it wasn't just shy people at parties. From random strangers on airplanes to taxi drivers in New York, if the world was Mother's oyster, the people in it were the pearls. Mom was not known as a pushover either. Sitting at the other end of the table from her in an argument is an experience that would surely test your resolve. Only for you to learn in the process, she helped you make up your mind along the way. However, when she made up her mind, it rarely changed. As a young adult, I felt this drive Helen had was a weakness. It was a sign of somebody who made up their mind too quickly. As I approach 30 with much more to learn, I carry her lessons and ideals. I learned that the world is an ebb and a flow and a riptide. And if I can make up my mind and put it to task, I'm able to swim where some sink. Like the wind bends a tree so that it can go strong, Mom was that for many of us. Often, what we need was only sometimes what we wanted. But with Mom, you always got what you needed. Sometimes you would only discover this much later, and I'm sure, even now that she is not with us, she will be taking me to school for many years to come. It wasn't all stern and intense with Mother. If you really needed that shoulder to cry on or to vent over a few glasses of wine, Mom was there. Mom was there if you needed someone to help you with homework or to call and check on an auto worker. Mom was there if you wanted to go thrift shopping or to listen to music. Mom was there if you needed a babysitter or somebody to be on the picket line. Mom was there when we lost our moms. And Mom is here with us now. A living memory forever cast in a grand mosaic of several hundred people's lives and countless more. A tapestry akin to the Detroit industrial murals by Diego Rivera. We are all saddened to see her go, but we rejoice that she was here. Thank you for letting me speak.